The drama surrounding the Las Vegas Raiders has reached a level no one expected this early in the season, and what's unfolding behind closed doors is far more dangerous than anything happening on the field. While fans gear up for the Week 12 matchup against the Cleveland Browns, something far more critical is happening inside the Raiders facility, something that could determine the direction of this franchise for the next 5 years. The tension is thick. The atmosphere is suffocating, and what's being whispered privately paints a picture of a franchise on the verge of repeating the exact catastrophe that derailed their future just a season ago. And the most alarming part is that the warning signs are clearer than ever. If the information coming out of that building is accurate, Raider Nation is witnessing history repeat itself in real time. The season began with cautious optimism, a legendary coach taking the helm, a roster loaded with draft capital, the second highest salary cap space in the entire NFL, 11 draft picks in hand. It was supposed to be a fresh start, a chance to rebuild the identity of the franchise and finally climb out of mediocrity. But now, with a 2-8 record and the playoffs mathematically gone, the hope that once sparked excitement has been replaced by a heavy, undeniable darkness hanging over the organization. And what's becoming clear is that this darkness isn't just about losing games. It's about a deeper philosophical divide, eating at the core of the team. That divide exploded into public view when ESPN insiders Jeremy Fowler and Dan Graziano released a stunning report, placing Pete Carroll on the hot seat. And not just casually. They specifically said he's more likely to be fired than first-year coaches like Aaron Glenn. Think about what that means. At the start of the season, sources inside the building insisted Pete Carroll was untouchable, not getting fired no matter what happened. Yet now, national insiders are openly questioning his future. That's not just smoke, that's the entire building filling with fire. Fowler described it with a clarity that cuts through any attempt to soften the reality. The Raiders are clearly rebuilding. Pete Carroll is clearly trying to win immediately. And those plans aren't meshing. A front office signed to 5-year deals has its eyes on the long-term plan, while a 74-year-old head coach is operating like every game is his last chance to prove something. These are two worlds that cannot coexist inside the same organization without tearing everything apart, and that brings everything back to the quarterback position, where the disconnect becomes painfully obvious. Pete Carroll's loyalty to Geno Smith has crossed the line from questionable to reckless. After every loss, he steps to the podium and praises Smith's performance, even when fans, analysts, and players see the opposite. It makes the entire situation feel delusional. It makes the franchise feel stuck in a nightmare it cannot escape. But what makes this situation truly explosive is what surfaced from inside the Raiders building this week. A message from someone with legitimate access and inside knowledge revealed that frustration in the front office has reached a breaking point. There's real disconnect now, real anger, real disagreements about Carroll's decision-making and refusal to embrace the organizational vision. When the executives assigned to rebuild the roster see their long-term strategy sabotaged by a coach desperate to chase short-term validation, the conflict becomes unavoidable. And that conflict is happening right now, not next month, not at the end of the season. This week, the Raiders are 2-8. Look at the remaining opponents: the Browns, Chargers, Broncos, Eagles, Texans, Giants, Chiefs. Maybe, at best, they steal a game or two, but realistically, this team is staring at a 4 or 5 win season. The disaster looming over everything isn't the record. It's what the record represents. It's the nightmare scenario Raider Nation has lived through before. Last year, under Antonio Pierce, the Raiders won meaningless games at the end of the season, falling from a top 3 pick to 6th overall. They missed out on elite offensive tackles. They missed out on franchise-changing defensive players. They lost their chance at the kind of talent that could transform the future of the team. Those wins felt good in the moment, but they cost the organization dearly. Now, with Carroll treating every late-season game like a playoff matchup, the exact same mistake is about to repeat itself. Pete wants wins. The front office wants draft position. Pete wants short-term success. The front office wants long-term stability. Pete wants Geno Smith. The front office wants a future franchise quarterback. These two timelines cannot exist together. And if the Raiders win 3 or 4 of their last remaining games, everything collapses. They end up with a mid-round pick instead of a top 3 selection. They miss out on elite prospects. They stay trapped in a cycle of mediocrity because a head coach refused to align with the organizational vision. Meanwhile, Carroll will claim vindication. Geno will survive another year. The coaching staff will stay intact. And the front office will lose the opportunity to draft the player who could finally turn everything around. This isn't speculation. It's an outcome that feels dangerously likely. What makes everything worse is that Carroll had every tool he needed to succeed this season. He got 11 draft picks. He inherited enormous cap space. He brought in Geno Smith himself. He hired Chip Kelly as the highest-paid offensive coordinator in football. He installed his own son as the offensive line coach. He got every resource, every ounce of control, everything he wanted. And the result is a 2-2-8 record, a broken offense, and a roster that looks unprepared and undisciplined every single week. How do you justify giving a coach another year after this? How do you justify trusting him with another offseason? How do you justify handing him the future of the franchise when he has squandered everything he asked for? The silence inside the building is telling. When people dodge questions, when answers turn into nervous pauses and careful wording, it means the fault lines are forming. It means the organization is preparing for a shift. It means Pete Carroll's job security is evaporating. And at this point, the only rational choice is for the Raiders to move on after the season. Not out of anger or desperation, but out of necessity. This team needs a coach committed to rebuilding. A coach who aligns with the long-term plan. A coach who understands that this season isn't about squeezing out meaningless wins. It's about setting up the next 5 years. It's about drafting the quarterback of the future. It's about building something sustainable. It's about ending the cycle of short-term thinking that has kept this franchise stuck in disappointment for decades. And right now, Carroll stands in the way of that vision. The final stretch of the season isn't about the playoffs. Those dreams are gone. It's about protecting the future. It's about avoiding the catastrophic mistake of last year. It's about ensuring the Raiders don't once again sacrifice long-term success for temporary relief. Raider Nation deserves better. This franchise deserves alignment, not chaos. A future, not repetition of the past. A new direction, not another year of the same broken approach. If you want more deep, powerful breakdowns like this and want to stay ahead of every twist in this Raiders saga, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and jump into the comments. Do you think Pete Carroll should be one and done in Vegas? Should the Raiders tank for draft position? And what is the #1 move the franchise must make this offseason? Let your voice shape the discussion.